What's going on, Charles Botensten? So today's video is going to be a little controversial. You're actually going to look at it and say, Charles, I don't agree with that. And the exact reason that you don't agree with it is the exact reason why you should agree with it and why you should look at it. Because that's your ego. That's your ego talking. Your ego says, I want to be right. I want to win this argument. I am the most important thing in person, and my thoughts and my feelings are real. That is your ego. You're attached to your feelings, to being right, being correct, looking good, and at the very least, just don't look bad. But that's the problem, is that the ego is really attached to fear, which is attached to attachment. The attachment of comfortability, of no change. Why do people hate change? They don't like change. They don't like sudden change. They don't like where it's just cut off. A divorce, a breakup. But if it was like, you know what, we're going to see each other a little bit less, and then you just slowly go apart, but that's a cutoff. Being fired, bankrupt, your business fails. Or the other way around, which is you get $1 million and then you gradually spend all of it. So don't be right anymore. So I'll get into this a little bit deeper. And the reason this came up is because I brought it up with one of my agents, and I said, listen, you have to lower your ego because there's no solution behind an ego. So say a problem happens. You're having a problem in your relationship. You're having a problem at your job. You're having a problem with school, or your parents, or anything else. Your ego doesn't want to bring it up. Your ego doesn't want to bring it up because it doesn't want to go into conflict. It doesn't want to actually... I'll give you an example. So I'm out to dinner, and one of my clients, his wife doesn't really like me. His wife wasn't there. So I was talking to the husband, and I said, hey, listen, I just want to clean the air, is that I don't think your wife likes me. And he's like, you know what, that's funny that you brought it up. She doesn't. She likes you as a person. She doesn't like you, how you do business. I said, awesome. And guess what happened from that? We were able to talk about it. I said, oh, what can I change? Communicate a little bit different, communicate a little softer. I won't be as aggressive and everything else. Boom, relationship's better. But if my ego was like, I don't want confrontation, I don't want to talk about it, or I started saying, this is why I'm right and you're wrong, or your wife is wrong, nothing happens. No solution happens from the place of ego. All right, because someone needs to be right. Someone needs to prove the other person wrong. So this is the thing, is that you have to talk it out. But while you're talking it out, you have to say, and this is in negotiating, is that you have to be able to argue, or debating, you have to be able to argue their point better than you are. So I already knew where his wife was coming from. I knew that I was being a little too aggressive and pushy and everything else, but I wanted the best in how our relationship was and how we did business and everything else. So what does that look like? What does lowering the ego look like? It means that you're not always right. Or if someone says, hey, listen, you did this, you did that. Even if you didn't do it, you're like, okay, let's find the solution. I had a client recently, and she blamed me for everything. It was your fault, and I could have been like, it was the attorney there, that was the management company, that was the other broker, that was the owner. Obviously, I'm in real estate. That was da-da-da. I could have blamed it on all of them. I said, listen, let's put blame aside. Let's look at the solution. And I did that so many times that I actually ended up not only made the transaction, but at the end of the transaction, she was like, wow. She was like, that was actually pretty pleasant. It wasn't because I was like, you know what, actually, I'm going to deflect it. And listen, people are going to take this as black and white and be like, what, I should take all the blame all the time? I'm not saying that. I'm saying when there's a solution, let's look at the solution. So these are words that you'll hear or you'll say that means that your ego is getting involved. I told you so. I told you. I told you that. No, you. Your ego is talking there. I told you. I emailed you. We talked about this already. What are you talking about? The other is, you said blah, blah, blah. You said not to do that. You said to take out the trash, so I took out the trash. You said it. So one of them is I told you, which is I'm right, and then you said is making them wrong. You said this, especially in an argument. First of all, 101 in how to win friends and influence people is it's never I, me, you, them. It's always us, we, our, all those combining community bond words. Those are the words you use. You use those words. You don't use me, I, you, them. You say us and we and our, because that takes ownership, and we're all included in this. All right? Read the book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. So really what it comes down to, and the reason I get passionate about it, you can't go anywhere in life if you continuously need to be right or you continuously need to make someone else wrong. You will go nowhere. Life is selling. You're selling your thoughts, to your employees. You're influencing them. You're selling your morals and your ethics to your children, to your friends, to your boyfriend, to your girlfriend. You're doing this all the time, especially if you're legitimately in sales. If you're legitimately in sales, you can't make someone else wrong. You have to question. You have to ask questions for them to question that you're right or the way they're doing something is probably wrong. Like, is there any benefit that you see in our product over someone else's product? Instead of, here are our benefits. It's like, do you see any benefit? You ask a question. So anytime that you need to be right or have them wrong, your ego is talking. And your ego is attached to something that is, we're in a relationship. I don't want to get into a confrontation because we're comfortable. I was out with this girl last night. She's a friend of mine. She's talking about her boyfriend. And she's like, yeah, it's just not working out. It's just not working out. I'm like, okay, then break up with him. She's like, yeah, it's just kind of comfortable. Like, okay. So in my mind, if I continued going, I'm going to make her look wrong. Like, I spun it in the way where she saw the benefits. I also told stories about people that broke up with someone and now they're a lot happier. So she saw the benefits. She's like, you know what, you're right. I didn't make her look wrong. I didn't make me look like this savior. It's all about communication. It's all about words we use. You know, I'll just give you one example in real estate. I could say, let's price drop your apartment. Or I could say, let's have a price improvement. Let's improve your price. Let's make it a little bit more attractive. Do you see that? Even the smile across my face? Boom, that's sales. Not about winning or losing. It's about solving the issue at hand. This is negotiating. This is selling. Selling is having a solution in front of the person that needs to buy it. You want shoes? Here's the solution. You want to buy a house? Here's the solution. You want to lose weight? I'm a personal trainer. Here's the solution. There's a solution for everything. I'm a guy and I'm single. The solution is to get into a relationship, to get married, to have kids, or whatever. Whatever the solution is, don't look at it as, well, you said this, or I told you, or you're wrong, I'm right. It's all about, we're in this together. It's about solution oriented. That's it. That's life. That's selling. That's influencing. That's being proactive and productive. You can't do anything in life unless you actually do it together. You can't do this, like, yes, you have to go through self-development in life, but to get any money, to get anything in life, like health or wealth or whatever, you need someone else's products or food or transportation or whatever. And especially if you want money, unless you somehow, rob a bank, that's one way to get money by yourself. But if you want to get it the legality way is, I'll just go over real quick. Don't be right anymore. That, like, literally, that's my motto. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, and by the way, say someone said, you did this. Like, who cares? My armor is so thick from so many years of my ego talking that I try and remove my ego as much as I can, which is actually fear. And I try and remove it as far back where I don't even think about it. And someone says, I was out and I was buying these, green juices, and the glass broke, and the woman next to me goes, I can't believe you did that. And it was like, I was opening the door, she was reaching for it. It was just like a perfect thing where it just split and it broke and whatever. And then the manager came over, and the manager said, it's okay, I got it, and cleaned it up. So the manager had been like, obviously they're not going to do it, but it's a perfect example of the woman looked at me, and I could have been like, no, actually, you were the one that was grabbing for it. I just opened the door to make it easier. Yeah, like maybe there could have been it was a little awkward when it happened, but the bottle broke. Let's be solution oriented. Let's clean it up. Let's not bitch about it. And to be honest, when she's like, you did it, I was like, okay, cool. Like, what am I going to do? Like, argue with her over, and by the way, that's a small item. I'm talking about taking care of the small items. What if we were in a relationship and I was dating her and she blamed me and I said, oh, okay, whatever, not a big deal. But there is something larger that comes out about it, which is, let's discuss this. Let's be solution oriented. Obviously, if you snapped about a bottle dropping and breaking, how do we make this? Because it's not about the bottle. It's about being emotionally there or whatever. It's like, be solution oriented. So have an awesome day. I know I was all over the place on this video. There's a lot of ego, a lot of fear, but just know that all fear is from ego, and all ego is being attached to something, attached to being comfortable, attached to being right, attached to someone else being wrong, attached to the amount of likes you get on a post, the amount of comments, the amount of views, what does the subscriber think? It's all from ego. So what's the difference between ego? Is self with a capital S. I'll leave it on this. We'll make another video about it. So have an awesome day. Subscribe to the video. I don't know what the hell this video was about, but I think there was some information in there. So have an awesome day. Leave your comments below. I'll talk to you soon.